All right, we're back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us. Our guest is Paul Kinney. He's a master mechanic. He is the owner-operator of Precision Tune over there on Murfreesboro Road in Antioch area, right?
Right,
yes.
right.
And he's been there for years. Taking your phone calls about car questions. Come on, ask an expert. And we had a couple calls during the break. One about the value of blinker fluid and what you do with muffler bearings. Don't even try those. I will fall for that. But those are jokes. There's no such thing as blinker fluid, right?
Blinker fluid and muffler bearings.
Make sure that's full.
Right. Yeah. Make sure you have plenty of blinker fluid in there.
No, those would stump us. All right. Well, we got some calls. We'll start off with your namesake, Paul. Good morning, Paul.
Morning.
Hey, Mr. Paul. Every time I try to get my tags, they say my car fails. I know my lights are working because I can see my engine light, my oil light, my tire light. What do you recommend? I don't understand if all these lights are working, why can't I get my tags renewed?
So you're talking about you failed the emissions test?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, the fact that you check engine lights on is why you failed the emissions test. Okay, that's the little indicator on the dash that tells you that you need to get your car into a mechanic and get it fixed. It doesn't mean taking it down, having the codes read, and disconnecting the battery. It means actually going and seeing what caused that light to come on.
Okay.
So yeah, that would be, if all your lights are on, that means you've got more than one issue. Tire light, it could be low tire pressures if it's flashing. That means you may have a sensor bad on it. So yeah, time to go and see the doctor.
Okay, so typically when you fail emissions, that means that the exhaust coming out is too high in pollutants and it needs to be addressed. Is that a catalytic converter thing?
No, it means that the vehicle is not running properly. It's not running at an optimum performance. Okay, so the emissions coming out is going to be higher. It's also not going to be getting the proper gas mileage, and there's something wrong in the system, whether one of the sensors or something mechanical or electronic is not working as the manufacturer designed. The sensors are reading out of range, pops the light on, that tells you need to get it in and get it checked out.
Okay, all right. And you know, I once had a situation where a vehicle had sat through the winter and not done anything. I took it in to get the tags changed just right out of the garage, and I failed. And I'm like, oh gosh, and the guy says, had this been sitting all day? And I go, yeah. He goes, you know what, take it and drive it around most of the afternoon and come back tomorrow. I did that, and it burned out some of the carbon buildup or whatever it was, and it passed the next time through. I don't know if that's his problem.
Well, what happens if a car sits and the battery goes dead? Okay. The computer goes to sleep, basically. And when everything gets powered back up, it's going through its self-test. It's called trip monitors. This is why you can't just reset the code or disconnect the battery and take it through. The car has to be driven 20 or 30 miles in some cases, longer in others, for these self-tests, the self-diagnosis that your car is doing to itself almost every time you start it, to go through and make sure that it's ready for the test and that there's no failures or faults involved.
Okay, so it doesn't have anything to do with maybe just sitting there, some carbon buildup that blew into it?
No, it was just losing power to the battery on that.
Okay, and so by driving it, and I didn't do anything else, I just drove it, and then I brought it back in and it passed.
And that wakes everything up and it goes through its self-test.
Something to think about.
There you go.
I hope that helps, Paul. You're just going to have to take it in and have it checked out if it's failed.
There you go.
Let's go to Cindy. Cindy.
And everything.
Hey, Cindy, how you doing, kiddo?
Morning.
Doing pretty good.
Good morning. What can we do for you, Cindy?
Okay, well, you know, I got tired of driving pieces of junk because I've been ripped off by mechanics a lot of times. And the one time I never got the maddest when I brought it in to get the timing fixed on my car. That old, you know, it was an old Camaro. And I said, I just want it timed. So what happens? They take off my timing belt and everything, replace it with a plastic one. I said, I didn't ask for that. I said, is this it, laying on the ground? Of course, it was fine. You know, it was an all-metal one back then. And they put in some piece of plastic, and the car ran like crap. And I said, I didn't ask for that. I asked it to be, you know, what do you call it?
To do the timing? Was that?
I asked it to be timed. That's what I did.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
You know, as a mechanic my whole life, I hate to hear a situation like this. You know, it may be the mechanic decided that this was an upgrade, this would do better instead of using original equipment type parts, and did not consult with the customer in this point. To just set the timing on a car, you don't have to replace the timing belt or chain in this case. And Cindy, I hate it for you. The best thing to do, my advice to anybody is find somebody you trust. Somebody communicates with you, just like going to a doctor or a contractor or anything else. Stick with them, and they'll appreciate your business and do you right. There's lots of times things that we have to do that are kind of in a gray area and use an executive decision. But I like to keep my contact with my customer and let them be part of the decision-making process on that. So you never just...
You're right. It's just like a doctor.
You got to have that open communication.
You've got good bedside manner, my friend. The key about that is you've got to have someone you trust. I have these images, and I've seen you sometimes where you have people questioning you about a bill, and there's a natural skepticism because folks like me, I don't know sometimes if I go to a mechanic I don't know who's worked on my car, and he's charging me $80, and for all I know, he turned a screw. I'm seriously. Now, I'm not saying that happens all the time, but I'm skeptical because I just don't know. And so I like it if they explain it, or if I go to someone like Paul, who I trust, what he tells me, I know that I'm being billed what's fair.
It's show and tell. This is what you got going on. Here's the part that's leaking. Here's a crack. Or sometimes it's that simple that even a customer that doesn't have years of automotive experience can look and say, yeah, that looks like it's got a crack in it. Other times it's a little more complicated when you get into this electronic stuff now. And that's when you just really got to have a lot of communication.
Yeah. All right. Let's go next to Lee. Lee, good morning.
Good morning, Nick.
Hi, Lee.
The gentleman sitting there, there's two things I would like to, one thing to ask him, and one thing of a warning to people going to these auto parts places.
Okay.
All right, first question, I have a 2000 Dodge Ram 1500. I cannot get electric spark going to the coil. Or you hook up the wire to the coil running from somewhere, and I'm getting no power on or off.
Okay. Well, somewhere would be the key word in that phrase. A good wiring diagram is worth gold to you right now, because you want to see, does it come straight from the ignition switch? Does it go through the body control module? That sort of thing. So once you can basically read that map there, that will tell you more why you're not getting the 12 volts to your coil. Because once you get 12 volts to the coil, and you get the signal to ignite it, turn it off and on, then you'll restore the spark to the vehicle. But yeah, good wiring diagram. And the internet's great now. You should be able to just go to Dodge and possibly pull up a wiring diagram and see where that comes from.
All righty. That in itself is a joke, because the mechanics at Dodge, they can't even pull up anything on this Dodge that could be wrong with it. And second thing is, I want to tell you about these auto parts places. Okay. Now, I have sunk over $1,100 in this van. It's a 2000 Dodge. My father left it to me. It's barely got 52,000 miles on it.
Wow, low mileage.
And every time I take them, they take these little portable codes finder. They'll tell me everything in the world except what's wrong with it.
Yeah.
And it's costing me a fortune. I mean, I warn people about these little machines when a professional can, they're supposed to be at these auto parts places. They pull up a lot of things. This code says this code says that.
Right.
Well, every time I buy what they recommend that could be the problem, I'm still right where I am.
Same problem. What is the machine he's talking about?
It's a code reader, and it's a scanner, and there are different ones out there on the market, and usually the auto parts, and it's good intentions on their part. Sometimes they're a little over enthusiastic, and I get the end result like you've had with yours. They read a code, recommend a part. Well, the codes in a vehicle are only going to give you a system failure. It may say the oxygen sensor system, high voltage or low voltage. Well, that could be the oxygen sensor. That could be the electronics going to it. It could be a vacuum leak. It could be a leaky injector. Well, by the time you go throw 4 or 5 potential parts on that thing, you've already spent a lot of money and time and just gotten aggravated.
So what you want instead is that you get that alert, and then someone like you has to go in and do the diagnostic and figure it out.
Yeah, the scanner that we use that my lead tech Kurt has is about a $15,000 scanner. Okay. And unfortunately, it costs that much to get in to access some of these things. And you have to look at actual live voltage and then figure out what is the potential cause of this.
So you can give a specific solution.
What's making this sensor read wrong.
Right.
It may not be the sensor, and yeah, it's like I said, it's good intentions on their parts to read these codes and make suggestions. Sometimes they're right. Lots of times it really needs further investigation. I hope you have luck finding a wiring diagram on that. If you don't have any luck on the internet, give me a call. I'll see if I can pull it up on my computer and print out a copy for you.
We'll have the number for Paul at the end of the newscast, or the show rather. Let's go to let's go to a break. I've got more calls for you. People love talking about cars. I'm telling you.
It's cars and grandkids.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And a lot of folks with questions, and you can help them with it. So we'll take your calls as soon as we come back, right after this. Okay. Stay with us.